Hello and welcome to another video tutorial here on understanding body language, liars, cheats and happy feet. So this afternoon I've got the Stepped reunion interview done on this morning television here in Great Britain on ITV. Now then, if you're not overly familiar with who Steps are, they were pretty much a pop band here in the 1990s. Some very well documented hits and a very well documented breakup as well. So they've just reformed and they've done an interview here on ITV. So let's have a look at the old body language of these of the band, and let's see if we can spot anything untoward. So we'll hit the start button and let's have a look.
And Claire, Lisa, and Ian H. Watkins are with us now. And welcome. Thank you. So how did that go? Because that was the first time in 10 years.
Okay, so let's have a look at the opening stances of body language here. So let's just scoot back. So there we go. So just to refresh, we've got Claire here, and we've got Lisa, H, Faye, and Lee in the corner there. So obviously Lisa and H are stood up. So we've got Claire, the blonde, on the furthest right. The lady in the yellow is Faye, and we've got Lee on the left. So just to clear that up. So let's continue the video. So what we can see here automatically is pursing of the lips by Claire. Okay, so that's concealed. So it's obviously concealing an emotion by the way she presses her lips down together. And throughout this video, we're going to see a lot of that particular expression leaking through from Claire. Now then, during the breakup, I've done a lot of research to suggest that she was quite influential throughout the breakup. And her body language suggests some kind of trouble, both at the start of this interview and later on. So let's just continue the video.
With us now, and welcome. Thank you. So how did that go? Because that was the first time in 10 years that you have performed live together, bar rehearsals, but actually on TV.
Scary.
Was it scary?
It was nice though. It's so nice to all be put together.
Yeah. And you pleased with how it went?
Now the first thing I noticed there is that little slight micro expression from Claire. Now watch this again.
Was it scary?
It was nice though. It's so nice to all be put together.
Yeah.
Well, not according to this lady here, it's not, because that particular expression there, where we jut the chin out, is an example of anger. We can also see the eyebrows coming down very slightly, but they're not pulled together, so it's not a true sensation of anger. But generally, that kind of mouth expression there is associated with disagreement. So when Lisa said it's nice to be back together again, the only one there who's making any kind of negative gesture expression is Claire.
You pleased with how it went? Yeah. I didn't actually realise that was your very first performance.
Now notice how she's the only one who says she thinks so. So there's that needs a yes or no answer. So if she just thinks so, it's no real commitment there. So we're seeing yes, think so from the one who's making those concealed expressions. So automatically we can see something called physiognomy, which is the interpretation of character and temperament just by facial expressions. So if we're seeing pursing of the lips and a mouth display which is associated with a negative feeling, and a think so which is non-committal, then automatically we're seeing slight clusters of problems.
First performance, so that's always a very good sign.
Yeah.
Well, I also didn't realise how it had all gone so catastrophically wrong. We knew that you'd broken up and everyone going off and doing different things. But I had no idea the acrimony that was behind it. And the documentary that's on Sky Living at the moment, Wednesdays at 9, there are 2 more.
Now, it's interesting how the camera pans to that lady when we're talking about how everything all went wrong.
And the documentary that's on Sky Living at the moment, Wednesdays at 9, there are 2.
And we can see there with the hiding of the lips. Now, we do this when we sometimes feel guilt. Or shame. Now, in this instance, she might be feeling guilty about the fact that the previous breakup might be down to her. We don't know that, of course, but we can see here that her facial expression, again, is negative by the hiding of the lips. If you see your friends and family try and hide their lips slightly, it's a classic sign of potential guilt. So, let's keep watching.
Shows to go. We're 2 in. And I suspect that Sky wish that they had made many more rather than the 4. I'm sure they've got enough.
Now then, if looks could kill, just watch that particular expression there.
Sky wish that they had made many more rather than the 4.
There we go. So the over-the-shoulder glance made by Faye to Claire here. Now then, we look over the shoulder when we want to show potential contempt to somebody. Now don't forget that contempt is the only asymmetrical micro-expression which flashes on one side. However, we can often show contempt from somebody by looking over the shoulder. So I'm sure you'll always get that particular expression when you're around someone you don't like. You might flash them a cold over-the-shoulder glance, which we can see clearly from here. Now then, she has got her back, so the orientation is away from Claire as well. So she'd have to move her head back. But if there was good feeling between these two, what she should have done is leant back in and used her body to rotate when he talks to someone. Looking over the shoulder at someone is not a good sign.
They're okay with the 4. So back to when did it all begin to come apart? What happened?
I think I personally think the show is sort of made.
Now, do you know the pacifier then that Faye made? That's a classic manipulator
Back
and
to
a giveaway.
when did it all
Watch the arm
begin
scratch
to come
here.
apart? What happened?
I think I personally think
Arm
the
scratch.
show sort of made it sound like it was almost from the beginning, and for us all, it was very much nearer the end. I think we had to.
So she's changed her stance from the hands clasped over the knee to this particular expression here where she's making that nice right angle barrier, which is a common manipulator or a common sign of stress or anxiety, and she's clearly displaying that particular expression when talking about the breakup.
I personally think the show has sort of made it sound like it was almost from the beginning, and for us all, it was very much nearer the end. I think we had, a good 4.5 years of what we all thought, great fun. We had a good time, we're touring, meeting people, and it was only really the latter half, I think, if we're all honest,
So
that
what
it did go a bit.
changed then?
There were far more positives than negatives.
Yeah.
They were, absolutely.
Now then, what's interesting to note there is if we can just pause it on Claire's facial expression.
There were far more positives than negatives.
Yeah.
They were, absolutely.
How we can just see there, if we can
There were
just
far more positives
pause it.
than negatives.
Yeah.
They were.
There we go. Now then, note how everyone leans in there. However, Claire's facial expression there is where she purses the lips. Now, pursing the lips is a classic giveaway of general disagreement. Again, we can see here how the lips come narrow and then press down together here. And we can also see this little manifest here when she's placing the hands in front of her. So again, that's a general disagreement stance. What this is a good sign here is we're leaning in with the palms open. That's good. So we can also see this particular expression here with the hands interlocked. So there is not a lot of, there's quite a little bit of good chemistry going on, but again, we're excluding this one here, which is because she's the furthest one away, you see. So this is quite interesting, this interview.
We've been discussing this, and we think it was a lot of lack of communication.
Yeah, absolutely.
A
And
lot of things
compromise.
building up, and we didn't talk about them at the time, and you kind of hid it and went away and did your own thing and dealt with it like that. We didn't have a huge amount of support around us,
Now, it's interesting, the eye glare from Faye to Claire.
communication.
Yeah, absolutely.
A
And
lot
compromise.
of things building up, and we didn't talk about them at the time, and you kind of hid it and went away and did your own thing and dealt with it like that. We didn't have a huge amount of
There we go. Didn't have a huge amount of support, and then we can see the eye glare,
support around
which is maintained. Now look,
us, making sure that we were actually okay.
we can see a distinct there
Away and
increase
did your own thing and dealt with it like
of eye
that.
glare.
We didn't have a huge amount of support
Comes with
around us.
maybe slight anger. Now that eye glare is left just slightly too long for me, so I think that's a definite
making sure that we were actually
association of trying to direct something onto somebody just using the eye.
Just overworked and overtired.
You say sort of hiding away and doing your own thing. I mean, was it? Did you lock yourself in the dressing room?
Now what Philip Schofield's doing here is making an adapter. An adapter is when we find it increasingly comfortable to place our hands above our lips, making it quite difficult for us to understand what he's saying because words can be quite mumbled when we place our hands like that. A good example of another adapter is the Chris Brown interviewer who makes the finger gesture above his lips when he's talking about Rihanna because he doesn't want to talk about it. So this particular expression here is done with thought and cognitive processing. However, that finger just needs to slip down there, Philip, because it's not a good gesture to make.
At Wembley, not.
You can see because the finger is just covering the bottom lip, so it means that you're not actually getting 100% of what he's trying to say.
No, there was.
Now listen to this, what he said.
Sort of hiding away and doing.
building up and we
Okay,
didn't talk
so let's
about
listen
it
to
at
what
the
he
time.
said,
You kind
minus
of
the
hid and
adapter.
went away and did your own thing and dealt with it like that. We didn't have a huge amount of support around us.
So a long eye glare.
We were actually okay. Yeah. And we were just overworked and overtired.
Well, you say sort of hiding away and doing your own thing. I mean, was it? Did you lock yourself in the dressing room at Wembley and not come out for an hour? Where is she?
No, there was some kind of incident at Wembley. We decided we were going to film the show, which we kind of halfway through the tour, and apparently I kept Wembley waiting for an hour, and H told me off because I didn't lock myself in the dressing room. I was getting my makeup done.
Okay, now let's do a little bit of statement analysis before we do the body language analysis. Let's have a look at. Let's have a look.
Did you lock yourself in the dressing room at Wembley and not come out for an hour?
So did you? That needs a yes or no answer.
Where is she?
No, there was some kind of incident at Wembley. We decided we were going
So some kind of incident means that now she makes a pacifying gesture by just touching the hair,
Where is she?
which we haven't seen before.
Some kind of incident at Wembley. We decided we were going to film the show, which we kind of halfway through the tour, and apparently I kept Wembley waiting for an hour, and H told me off because I didn't lock myself in the dressing room. I was getting my makeup done.
Okay, and then we can see that particular expression there, where the lips start to tighten at one side again. So again, we're seeing some concealed information there. Obviously, she's withholding some kind of information, but we don't know what that is. So the stakes are relatively low with that question as well. So you won't see that many fleeting micro expressions, because don't forget we flash micro expressions during the high stakes scenarios. Not necessarily that one.
Then it all begins to come apart, and there are sort of various sort of parts of personalities that work, and there are various parts that don't. When was the moment where you decided, right, that's it, we can't do this anymore?
When we left.
I think for me, the things had built up to such a point that I think it was about 2 weeks before the end of the tour. We were in Cardiff, and I can't remember what happened, but I just thought, I just can't do this anymore. I need to go home.
Because it was almost like...
Now, what's interesting there is, let's just do a little bit of statement analysis with that one.
When we left.
Okay.
I think for me, the things had built up to such a point that I think it was about 2 weeks before the end of the tour. We were in Cardiff, and I can't remember what happened, but...
However, you can remember what happened, because that's why the shoulders shrug. And what's interesting to know is the space of detailing before she said she can't remember. So listen to it again.
When was the moment where you decided, right, that's it, we can't do this anymore?
When we left.
So what we've got here is example of time frame, location.
For me, the things had built up to such a point that I think it was about 2 weeks before the end of the tour. We were in Cardiff.
So we've got 2 weeks in Cardiff. So we've got cognitive processing allowing to remember where we were and the time frame.
And I can't remember what happened, but
However, she can't relay the emotion to how she felt with which particular incident. And we can also see there with the stunning use of the double shoulder shrug as soon as she said it, and the eyes going up and the eyebrow raise.
built up to such a point that I think it was about 2 weeks before the end of the tour. We were in Cardiff, and I can't remember.
Okay, the shoulders go up. She can remember, but obviously we want to discuss it live on TV, and especially with the other band members who potentially would have upset her, so there's no need to bring up bad
What
blood.
happened, but I just thought, I just can't do this anymore. I need to go home.
Because it was almost like, I mean, I'm not sitting here pointing fingers at anybody, but termination. It's kind of you two were the sort of ones who were quite instrumental with splitting it up.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
I think that's fair to say.
Very much so.
Yeah, and I guess the great thing about coming together now, 10 years later, when you're all older and more grown up, and you can discuss everything, is kind of answering those questions, which I'm sure you
Okay,
had
right,
back
so we're
then.
just going through the motions here, just like agreements. That's in the use of Illustrator there, by use of the hands, and he's talking with his hands there.
Differently then.
Well, I wouldn't have left.
Would you not?
No, I mean, knowing what I know now, we should have, I say the C words, communication and compromise. I'm glad they were the words.
Okay, so everything's going pretty well now. However, what we can see now again is everyone smiling and
I'm
laughing.
glad they were the words.
We see everyone's wide open smiles. Let's go around. We've got a wide open smile there, Lisa, very good. Wide open smile there from Lee. Faye, wide open smile. The one coming down here, the pursing of the lips, the concealed expression there, where our lips purse. So again, we can see that there's a problem with Claire here. We don't know why this is. There's a little bit of good rapport with them, but there's something that she's doing here which is responsible for that particular expression. Don't forget about physiognomy. Interpretation of character and temperament based on facial expressions. We see a loud expression there with the teeth in the mouth and real smiles and the orbicularis oculi in each one with the eyes rolling back and the corner of the eyes moving back. We don't see that with Claire.
As much as I am.
But it's easy to say that looking back, isn't it?
But also, that's really helped us all move on as a band because, you know, the guys have been remorseful. You know, things didn't end in the best way. It wasn't the best.
Now then, look at that particular use of eye glare there.
Have been remorseful. You know, things didn't end in the best way.
And note how the eyes shift down.
Have been remorseful. You know, things didn't end in the best way.
Let's just see the eye glare.
Have been remorseful. You know, things didn't end in the best way.
And there we go. So a slight glance down to the left, obviously where that Lady Claire slit in.
Best timing.
And then what we can see there is her initial reaction.
It wasn't the best.
Is where she juts the head forward and makes that chin display she was doing before as well. So quite a lot of these little snips about how they broke up are often quite directed at Claire here.
Best timing. But we're hoping now this time round we can have a happy ending.
But did you keep...
And note the happy ending again, the one place to look.
It wasn't the best timing, but we're hoping now this time round we can have a happy
There we are, happy ending, and the eyes dart straight to that Lady Claire.
ending.
But did you keep the resignation note?
I've got both letters.
Have you?
I've still got mine.
Actually,
The other one as well.
no, but I did, yeah, because I don't know why. I just kept them. And
Okay, so this is part of the documentary they did. It's not overly necessary, so I think we'll just trim this slightly.
So, that was then. Now you're back together again. Who was the person who made the phone call to say, right, okay, enough's enough, let's get back together again?
Well, we got back together just to talk, obviously, for this TV show, but the album is also released today, so we're supporting the release of the Ultimate Collection, which is doing really well.
Okay, right, so let's just trim this towards the end here. Let's just scoot forward and see if we can spot anything else untoward. So we've got...
Really hideous.
So this is part of the old documentary.
Beg on their knees or anything, but just to say sorry, guys, would be nice.
It is like a big
Really
therapy
is.
session.
Do you know what though? It's been so fascinating, and it has been like therapy. But it was such a big part of our lives. It's like a 10-year-old story that's been waiting to be told, and this is our
Okay,
time to
right,
tell
yeah,
it.
so we're
So
seeing
you
good
have
use
got- you
of
have got some-
facial expressions there, and we can see good use of pursing again by Claire.
Exclusive, so
Yeah, we're splitting up again.
what are you going to do?
We're really, really excited because we'd like to announce today that we're going back on tour, and the tickets will be on sale soon.
On Friday, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, going on tour in April.
Now then, if there's ever... okay, let's just scoot back there. If we can see nervousness and anxiety, we can see it now.
Really, really excited because we'd like to announce today that we're going back on tour, and the tickets will be on sale.
Okay, right, yeah, so we can...
Friday.
We can see that particular nervous smile expression there. We can see the pacifying gesture that Lisa makes with the hands being interlocked
that
here.
We're going back on tour, and
Watch this.
the tickets
So the hands
will be
come
on
locked.
sale soon.
On Friday, I think.
And how's...
Yeah, going on tour in April.
So we make a pacifier, a fake smile, we make that a little expression, we make a deep breath in, and make what's known as a gestural retreat where we lean
Friday,
back.
I think.
Yep.
Yeah, going on tour in April.
So scratch, big deep breath in, the lean back.
We've had from the TV show, the Twitter.
They're not overly confident about what they've just said, I'm afraid.
The Facebooks. It didn't exist when we were back 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were that old,
Still
you know.
selling cassettes at some point.
Exactly. And tapes, not CDs. Yeah, I remember right. Yeah. DVDs and videos and things like that. But the response has been phenomenal, and because of that, we've had this approach of a tour, which is amazing.
Well, it's
We've
been
all
the
obviously
highest
jumped on
rated
it.
show on Living, hasn't
it's
it?
great.
And so,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they're still out there. People still have invest so much.
Okay.
Well, we will put the details of your tour on our website and link to yours. I assume you've got one as well, so we'll link to
You
yours
can go
and
to Ticketmaster
also.
as well.
Yeah,
If
we'll
they
put
go-
those details on
Go
there.
to Ticketmaster,
Yeah.
there's a code. And
Yeah.
if they get the code, they basically buy the album and they jump the queue.
So let's end the interview right there. So there we go. So that's my analysis done on the Steps interview here. Let's just scoot back so we can see them all. So overall, not too bad. The problem comes with Claire's facial expressions and how the other band members inadvertently dart the questions that Philip and the other lady are asking. It's interesting to note how she purses her lips quite a lot, and we can see fleeting expressions of anger coming through as well. So I don't know the full outcome of why they broke up originally, but for some reason, these two seem to be glaring on Claire. So it might come all out in the wash in the future that these three had a big problem, or these two had a big problem with Claire. We don't know. But there's certainly something going on here that's making her not resent the rest of the band, but there's certainly a problem at the moment. And that's just my opinion based on facial expressions and body language and use of eye glare and eye behaviour. So watch this space. So there you go. But anyway, I hope Steps have a roaring success. I was a fan of them years ago in the 90s during my teenage youth years. So anyway, I hope they make it big. I hope they'll go on to have a distinguished career like Take That did when they reformed recently. So there you go. So if you'd like to learn more about body language, then please check out my Understanding Body Language page on Facebook. Just type in Understanding Body Language Liars, Cheats and Happy Feet and my page pops up there. I've been studying body language for a long time now, done a lot of work on facial expressions, and I speak to Joe Navarro quite a bit and Dr. Matsumoto and stuff to try and hone my skills a bit further. So don't forget to check out Joe's book, What Everybody Is Saying, get on Amazon or eBay or wherever you like. Very good book about non-verbal communication, about how the brain works and what pacifying gestures mean and other bits and bobs about non-verbal behaviour. So there you go. So any questions or feedback, please let me know. Please try and share these videos around as much as you can. If you're new to my videos, then please check out the rest of my body language work. I've done around about 63, 64 other analysis videos covering people like Michael Jackson, Bill Clinton, Amy Winehouse, Lady Gaga, and a few criminology cases as well. So from everyone here at Understanding Body Language, liars, cheats and happy feet, take care and bye-bye for now.